Hello, and welcome to Crazy Movie Recaps. Today's recap is going to be a mystery crime drama film produced in 2022, titled The Weekend Away. A young woman takes her best friend for a trip to Croatia, but things go sideways when her best friend goes missing. While she struggles to find her best friend, every single clue leads to a new nightmare. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The film opens in Croatia, where Beth has just arrived with her best friend, Kate, who is the one that organized this whole trip, and she's paying for everything with her ex's credit card. When they get set up, Beth gives Kate a black necklace, which has a few loose beads, before video chatting with her husband, Rob, and their child Aster. Rob wishes the girls to have a fun night, and on their way out, they bump into the landlord, Sebastian, who makes sure they are settling down all right. When they make it to the restaurant, Beth feels like a bad friend because she couldn't be there for Kate during her divorce. But Kate understands that having a baby got in the way of that and asks Beth how her marriage is going. Beth says her marriage isn't what she expected. When they're done dining, they go to a club and Kate needs a moment to redo her makeup. So Beth takes the chance to chat with Zane, their taxi driver, about their experiences as foreigners. Once Kate is ready, the girls enter the club. There are two men looking at them, so Kate drags Beth to sit with them, telling her that Rob doesn't need to know. They chat and drink with the guys, but as the night passes, Beth feels dizzier and dizzier. Before she realizes what's going on, Beth wakes up at the apartment, not remembering anything that happened last night. After throwing up, she looks for Kate, but she's nowhere to be found. Under a towel, she also finds a broken glass and some drops of blood. Beth tries to contact Kate on her phone the whole morning, but to no avail. Beth goes to the police, but Officer Pavic explains a report can't be filed until 24 hours pass, so Beth decides to continue on her own and calls Zane, who helps her remember what club they had gone to. At the club, the bartender pretends he doesn't remember the girls, but once Zane speaks aggressively in Croatian, he tells the truth that the two men the girls hung up with were escorts who come to this bar a lot to catch tourists. Beth guesses Kate must have hired them because she kept insisting Beth needed to get out of her rut. In the evening, Beth is convinced that something happened to Kate because she still hasn't answered a single message. So she informs her husband she's canceling her flight and not going home the next day as planned. The following morning, Beth uses the names the bartender gave them to find the escorts on social media and asks Zane for help arranging a meeting with them at a cafe. When the escorts arrive, they run away as soon as they see Beth's face. So Zane runs after them until he catches one and threatens him until he confesses what happened. The escort says they stayed in the apartment only until 3 a.m. because when Kate was distracted, they stole her bag and escaped. He also swears they didn't put anything in the girls' drink because they don't need it. They're professionals getting paid. The bag was pawned, and the man gives them the address of the shop. Beth gets the bag and the phone back, but she still thinks the escort slipped something in their drinks because she never gets that drunk and she only had water. Zane doesn't think it makes sense because they didn't rob Beth as well. So perhaps it was Kate that made her drink to make Beth finally relax and have fun. After a day, Beth goes back to the police, and this time Officer Kovac files Beth's report and scolds Pavic for not doing his job. Beth doesn't tell them about the phone, but she does give them the bag and the escorts' names. Kovac wonders if Beth could have been assaulted, so after taking her testimony, she's brought to the hospital to run some tests. Later, Beth returns to the apartment and finds Sebastian there packing up their stuff because checkout time has passed. When Beth mentions she isn't leaving the country, Sebastian offers her a cheap room he has downstairs. Once she's settled down, she leaves Kate's phone charging and takes a nap. By the time she wakes up, she can finally try to use Kate's phone, but sadly it requires Face ID to unlock. Beth calls Zane, and when they're about to leave, Beth is surprised by Rob, who decided to fly in because it's just a 2-hour trip and left Aster with a babysitter for the night. Zane leaves them to have their privacy, and a jealous Rob makes a scene, scolding Beth for trusting a random taxi driver. This upsets Beth, so Rob apologizes. Their conversation is suddenly interrupted by a call from the police that says they've found Kate dead. Beth goes with Rob to identify the body and learns Kate has drowned, but they need an autopsy before deciding if it was an accident or murder. The next morning, Rob wonders if he should stay longer, but Beth prefers him to go back to London to take care of their daughter while she finishes things here. Later, Havoc picks her up and confirms Kate was murdered. Beth requests to see Kate again to say her final goodbye, and when Havoc gives her a moment of privacy, she takes out the phone and uses her friend's dead face to unlock it. Beth pretends to need the bathroom to look at Kate's messages and sees there are a bunch of them from a number saved as handyman. So Beth calls it, only to discover Rob's voicemail. She hangs up and checks the text messages to confirm her worries that Kate and Rob had been having an affair. Havoc takes Beth to the police station, where Kovac shares the investigation results. They've found traces of illegal substances in both Beth's and Kate's blood, and they've also questioned the escorts. They denied using those substances in their job, and they had solid alibis for the time of the murder. A taxi driver picked them up at Beth's apartment. People at the club said they saw Beth and Kate arguing, but Beth denies it. The cops are starting to suspect Beth, so when Havoc drives her back, he takes Beth's passport and gives Sebastian his card. To distract herself, Beth has a dinner with Zane and shares a new theory that maybe Kate slipped something in her drink so she would have an affair and Rob would leave her. When she returns to the apartment, Rob calls Beth to check on her, and Beth confesses she knows about the affair. Beth keeps yelling at him because the police thinks she killed Kate, and if the cops learn about the affair, they'll assume it was her motive. The next day, Beth is arrested for Kate's murder. The police has photos of her dinner with Zane, who apparently is part of a gang involved in human trafficking. They think Beth hired him to kill Kate because of her affair with Rob, and they'll be talking to Jay, Kate's ex, later as well. Finding herself in a corner, Beth asks for a lawyer, who explains they haven't charged her yet because they don't have enough evidence, and they were hoping she would break. Beth returns to her apartment and finds Zane there, who got in because Sebastian let him. Zane had been interrogated as well, but they had to let him go because he had been working at the time of the murder, and the taxi app tracks everything. He also explains that he has nothing to do with any crime group. After he leaves, Beth wonders how the cops found out about the affair and remembers that Havoc gave Sebastian his card. She checks the mirror and finds a hidden camera, which probably recorded her conversation with Rob. She goes looking for Sebastian, and while making small talk, she waits for him to be distracted to steal his keys. After Sebastian leaves, Beth uses his keys to enter his private studio and finds out there are cameras hidden in the whole building, spying on people even in the shower. Beth finds the recording of the night of the murder and checks to finally see what happened. It seems she passed out in the bar because the escorts brought her in their arms and left her on her bed to sleep before going to Kate to have some fun together. As soon as she got distracted, they stole her bag and ran out of the building to get a taxi. When Kate discovered she had been robbed, she left as well, breaking a glass on her way out. She also took a cab, of which Beth writes down the license plate, only to return moments later in a different car with a curious sticker on the front. At that moment, Sebastian comes back looking for his keys, and Beth hits him with the door and tries to run away as he explains he isn't a creep but has those cameras for security. She doesn't believe him because he didn't share enough with the police, causing Sebastian to take out his phone and begin deleting videos so they can't be used as evidence. Beth tries to stop him, and in the struggle, she accidentally pushes Sebastian and he hits his head against the table. Beth takes his keys and runs out of the building before he can recover. Zane is waiting for her and drives her to the taxi company, where they find the owner of the license plate Beth wrote down. The man explains Kate made her follow the escorts for a while, then she got out at the police station. Meanwhile, her face has been appearing on TV as a wanted person, so the company receptionist has called the police. The cops arrive and Beth notices the curious sticker on Pavic's car. So he must be the murderer. That's why he never filed any of the reports. Zane and Beth run away, but there are too many officers after them. So Zane surrenders to give Beth time to escape and call her lawyer. But Pavic sees her and follows her to the top of a building, where Beth accuses him of killing Kate because she turned him down when he hit on her. Pavic grabs Beth to make her shut up but is interrupted by Kovac. Beth takes advantage of Pavic getting distracted and pushes him, sending him off the roof into his death. Later at the police station, Kovac apologizes and Beth is declared innocent. When she leaves the building, she hugs Zane to thank him for his help. Once she returns to London, she breaks up with Rob, and they take turns taking care of their daughter. One afternoon, when dropping Astor at Rob's place, she's in need of her spare car key, and Rob tells her to check his jacket. When she does so, there's a big surprise waiting in his pocket, a bead from the necklace she gifted Kate. It's only a 2-hour flight from London to Croatia, so Rob could have flown after hanging up with Beth, which had been his alibi. Beth goes to the bathroom to call Kovac and tell her about the real culprit, but when Rob checks on her, she decides to put her phone away in her pocket. Then she comforts Rob with the bead, making him confess he did indeed fly to Croatia that night, but he swears Kate's death had been an accident. Having the police on the line, it is a matter of time before the real murderer gets arrested. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help our channel grow. Turn the notifications on so you won't miss any of our new videos. Thanks for watching.